What's going on, guys? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Wanted to make a video about something that's pretty important to me. That's podcasting. I've been a fan of podcasting since 2012. My buddy Brock, he turned them on to me. He showed me some stupid clips of the Joe Rogan Experience, them talking about aliens and Bigfoot and all this weird stuff, and I thought it was fascinating. He showed me some other podcasts, like one called Cognitive Dissonance that I still listen to this day. And then we've just kind of dabbled with some podcasts ourselves. We've done a few different things. One thing that was actually doing okay at the time in 2016 was Horse and Ape. We had a few episodes on my main channel, and that was fun for a while. And you fast forward to now, I'm doing a podcast called The Snark Tank with Chris Reagan and Tom Sweeney, and that one's doing pretty well too. A lot better than I'd imagine, and you know, it's pretty fun for the most part. But yeah, so podcasting, not just like partaking in them, but listening to them is just a big part of my life. And I discovered a podcast called Come Town in 2017. I know they've been around since 2016. I didn't hear a peep of them. You know, these comedians from New York, Nick Mullen, Adam Friedland, and Stavros, Halkias, they just kind of put some stuff together, just, you know, and just riffing, just being complete idiots, just saying a lot of dumb jokes, a lot of just lowbrow humor that I really enjoy. You know, I don't need to be intellectual stimulated at all times. I have other podcasts like Dan Carlin's Hardcore History if I want to really be stimulated, and then I have Come Town, right? So I first discovered them just through YouTube, like a lot of people, just clips and whatnot, and then I finally started listening to them long form, and they're pretty much the only podcast that I'm subscribed to on Patreon. Now, the reason I want to talk about this, as you can see, like in the title, Stavros, he just abruptly left the podcast. And some people would probably argue and say it wasn't abrupt because for a while now on their episodes, they've been talking about ending the podcast, but you can tell it was more of a joke of like, oh, we're just going to do this. This is the last year. This is it and whatnot. And then at a certain point, you can kind of tell that Stavros wasn't having as good of a time, and he was kind of more focused on doing other things, like really polishing his stand-up career. Like, say, Nick and Adam both do stand-up, but like Stavros was going on these big tours, and he just released a special, and a lot of people speculate him releasing the special and it doing so well, like it hit like, I don't know, 2 million views in a couple of weeks or something like that. So it's doing very well. And I think some people are speculating that he's having some of a prima donna moment where he's like, yeah, I'm the shit, I'm just getting out of here. I don't know about that. He was doing kind of the media crunch when he was promoting his special, and he did speculate, and he did say things that, like, if it weren't for the Come Town's Patreon giving them so much money, him making hundreds of thousands of dollars off the podcast, there's no way he would do it. He hates this format. But he also says that he likes jumping on the Homies podcast. So it more seems like maybe he just didn't want to be tied down to a schedule. This is something that he kind of hated. And I think in a clip he's also said that the reason why he got into doing what he's doing is that he didn't want to be held down to anything. And maybe he started feeling like Come Town was suffocating him. And, you know, from somebody on the outside looking in, it's kind of insane to me personally, because to me, podcasting is the easiest thing to do in the world. And if you're making, like, if you just look at their Patreon numbers, like right now, it's sitting at over $100,000 a month. And when you think about that, like, it's pretty wild to me personally that, like, somebody would be willing to give that up. That's just from my perspective, though. You know, I know there's plenty of people that feel that way. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. If they feel trapped or suffocated, you know, fair enough. I just feel like podcasting is the easiest thing. You're just joking around with your homies. If you have that sort of podcast, and this many people are signing up to listen to you and give you this much money, it's like I've hit the absolute jackpot, and this is what I want to do forever. That's just me, though. I've always had that feeling. So, you know, it is unfortunate to see Stavros go, because Stavros was a very big part of the show. Nick and Stavros riffing was always one of my favorite things. It sometimes felt empty when Stavros would be on the road, he'd be on tour, and then it would just have to be Nick and Adam just doing their thing. And sometimes they would have a guest and whatnot, but the dynamic always felt a little bit off. And, you know, like missing Stavros' laugh. Like, some people thought his laugh was annoying, but you get used to it, and then it's kind of like weird not hearing it. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. How about this? More like 5 a.m. More like 5 a.m. He loves it.
Wow. I feel like he's in the room.
He loves the app. Stav, is it a good app?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
But now it's interesting. Just it's not the fact that he did leave, but it's just like the abruptly leaving. There wasn't now behind the scenes. Maybe there was something, like there was a boiling point that they already kind of knew. Maybe they were trying to like calm Stavros down and try to, or something, who knows. But the audience just found out all together randomly one day. There was actually Stavros released some stuff on Twitter and Instagram. He just had a little note, and he was just saying that he's leaving, and everything seems good. One thing that I thought it was a little bit interesting within his like note though. I'll just actually read it right here, where the part where he says, wanted to let everybody know that I'm not a part of Come Town anymore. As much as we joked about hating the fans and the podcast itself, the show changed my life, and I'll always be grateful for that. Thanks for everyone who listens / subscribes, supported the show. It meant a lot. I'm sad my involvement in the pod is over, but I'm also really excited for the future. I'm working on a couple of things I can't wait to share. Love you. Thanks for everything. Now, the thing that I thought was just a little bit interesting, and maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it, is that he didn't thank Nick or Adam. Like, he didn't thank the podcast itself. Like, thank you for, it's the showing gratitude towards the fans, which obviously that's the cool thing to do. But I thought it was just a little bit interesting that there wasn't like, say, thank you, Nick and Adam, for all your, there was nothing like that, which I thought was a little interesting. Now, Nick and Adam have shown some love, and they said there's no like good luck to everything. And so, but you never know, man. You never know what's going on behind the surface, that there might have been some bad blood for him to just leave. So if there wasn't like, say, hey guys, at the end of the month I'm going to be leaving, or say, hey, in July I'm going to be leaving. There was nothing like that on the podcast or anything, any type of, and now things seem a little bit like there's a little bit of a scramble, and it feels awkward, you know what I mean? And there's a guy that has a YouTube channel, his name is Speaking for Funny, and he was just trying to speculate. He says, not surprised Stav left Cumtown. Look at who he's buddies with, and then look at what Nick's been up to lately. It was just a matter of time. Now, this is an interesting pictures, because you have Stavros has been hanging out with Hassan Piker quite a bit. Comes on the stream. They've done a few things. Their politics are 100% aligned. Stavros is very progressive, and but the funny thing is, like, I know Nick is, like, from hearing when they actually talk serious on Cumtown, they're all fairly left leaning, So Nick here is pictured hanging out with Sam Hyde, and Sam is kind of all over the place. He's kind of an enigma, but people would speculate that, especially since the pieces that have been written about him and his politics are like, this guy's pretty right wing, maybe even far right. That's what some people speculate. That's what some people write about. I don't know enough about Sam Hyde to know what's going on with him. I pay attention to him just every once in a while when something big happens, so I really don't know too much about it. Like, I just feel like, say, somebody like Anthony Fantano, who's always been very progressive, was able to hang out with Sam Hyde and interview him and stuff like that. So I feel like, well, they could coexist, but then the media would not allow that to happen, because if you guys remember what happened with Anthony Fantano and I think it was Fader, and that whole situation with Sam Hyde and everything, it was a fucking mess. But this is an interesting speculation that maybe the way that maybe, like Ethan Klein, for example, Ethan Klein's always been progressive, but maybe he wants to use his platform to actually speak about his politics more, and Cumtown is not the place to do it. And so, like, he already said that he was working on other things. He's got some other projects coming up, so there could be something that to do with politics, because for example, if you want to just have a taste of Stavros' politics, I would suggest watch his podcast he did on Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz. So I don't know, it's a little weird. Something just feels a teeny bit off, but Adam and Nick are gonna move forward. They've already been making jokes about the Adam Friedland show. That's been kind of a running joke on the show. Like, we're just gonna make the Adam Friedland show. And on the latest episode, they've already ran some like, oh yeah, we're doing the Adam Friedland show. This is what we're doing. Adam's kind of pushing back a little bit, which I understand. If I were a co-host that was brought in a little bit later, I would also feel a little weird about that too. But yeah, they've even Nick has released something on the Patreon itself saying that this is what they're going to be experimenting with moving forward, like say, and if they haven't gotten a solid formula or format by the end of the year, then they'll just nuke the show. But obviously that's not what Nick wants. Nick doesn't want the show to just end, which I don't want the show to end either. I mean, it sucks that Stavros is gone, but somebody can, if they want to, somebody can fill the void. But I feel like it would have to be somebody who's just as charismatic and just as, brings the dick and gay jokes, because that's something that I've been so used to on the Come Down podcast that it would suck if that was just completely wiped out, because it was mostly Stavros that would bring that energy, and I dug it. I dig the immaturity, and so that being said, I wish the guys well. Hope everything works out. Personally, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to bring an idea that I've had for a long time to life. So when I was 13, I used to call 411 with my homies, and we would just do like these prank calls or whatever. And I would call and say like, I'm trying to get connected to Jizzville, Connecticut. That was like my go-to, and just see what the people's reaction would be. And when I heard of the Come Town, it totally reminded me of Jizzville. I'm like, oh, it's hilarious. And so I think this is the time for me to, because there's somewhat of a power vacuum going on, to officially make Jizzville a podcast. Jizzville's going to be a podcast, unironically, 100% legit. I'm going to find 2 other co-hosts. And that's where you guys come in. You got to help me find some co-hosts, some comedians, some interesting people. I've had some prospects before. I think I've hit up Justin Wang a couple of times throughout the years where I'm like, hey man, are you interested in doing a podcast? And he's like, nah, I don't want to schedule. He's like, screw all that. And I'm like, fair enough. And I'm like, damn, that's my guy. Someone I've also speculated was Young Crip. I'm like, all right, he's good. He brings it. He brings the jokes. He's always on. Sometimes maybe he's a little bit too on. Might even get the podcast canceled in the first 2 episodes or something. But this is just me speculating though. But I legitimately would love to do something like this, just to mess around and see what happens. See how things flourish. Because I'm always looking to have more podcasts. I want more. I mean, I did the N-Word Club for a little while with Tom Sweeney, but had to kick that to the side because, I need, I do need more consistency. I need people to be on it, more than me, like I need some motherfuckers that are just like trying to hit me up and they're trying to like bug my ass to be like, let's just get this money. Let's put out some comedy gold and let's get this fucking money. And I'm like, amen, sir or ma'am, or he or him or them or they. But anyway, guys, yeah, I just want to talk a little shit about this. I just thought it was really interesting to speculate about it. If you guys haven't heard of Come Town before, I would suggest you just backlog it. It's hilarious stuff. If you have a sense of humor, anything like mine, then you'll love the show. If you're already aware of it, let me know what you thought. If you think there was anything weird about Stavros' like sudden, departure, or if you just think that this was par for the course and this was inevitably going to happen like this. But yeah, that's it, guys. Have a good one and stay gay.